guys, today we are I'm obsessed with presidents now, like I've been for like all of 2023, and there's a lot of presidents that I like pretty much, and today we are going to be talking about the top 10 best presidents of all time, in my opinion. So let's get started on this very quickly, and let's start now. Without further ado, so before we begin, I hope you guys enjoy this video. It's just my opinion, so don't go crazy, but I respect everyone's opinion. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 10, James Madison, the father of the Constitution, of course, and a founding father. And Madison had strong moral authority and is well regarded by historians. And he also declared war against Great Britain in 1812. Americans considered the war a success, leading to a period of soaring nationalism. And that's a pretty cool thing. So Madison, he's one of my favorite presidents. I like him a lot. And I could go on for hours. Madison is a pretty cool president. He's the fourth, which basically counts as one of the first. And he's pretty much the last founding father. And so yeah, there's that. Number 9, John F. Kennedy. I rank Kennedy for his public speaking skills and his vision. So, I look like a young him, don't I? Look. If you take a closer look. My mom thinks I'm a young JFK. And he also rates well for crisis management and his handling of international relations. And he stood up to the Soviets and successfully defused the Cuban Missile Crisis. He also inspired Americans by vowing to put a man on the moon, and he supported progress on civil rights. Let's go to the moon! He literally said that in his speech, and it's so cool. I'm down to go to the moon. I'm fired up. But even though he was assassinated, and he barely had 1,000 days in office, sheesh. Number 8, Lyndon Johnson. Among some presidential historians, Johnson tops the charts for his pursuit of equal justice for all Americans. Taking office after John F. Kennedy's assassination, Johnson secured enactment of the landmark Civil Rights Act. He urged the country to build a great society, a place where the meaning of man's life matches the marvels of man's labor, which became his agenda, resulting in Medicare for the elderly, increased aid for education, and anti-poverty programs. The more I learned about Lyndon Johnson, the more I started to like him. So yeah, he's a very good president. Well, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Lyndon Johnson. There's those, yeah. So, yeah, there's that. Number 7, Harry Truman. Truman wins praise from people for his foreign policy leadership. Though he was unpopular, but when he left office, he has grown more highly regarded by people over the years. After VE Day, when Japan refused to surrender, he ordered that atomic bombs be dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, finally ending World War II. I used to not really like that he did that, but I realized it was just to end World War II. Shortly thereafter, Truman watched the signing of Charter of the Charter of the United Nations, established to preserve peace. And so yeah, he also played the piano, and he was from the Kansas City. I used to think much less about Harry Truman when I was younger. He used to not be my favorite, but the more I learned about him, the more I liked him. That's kind of the same as Lyndon Johnson. So yeah. Number 6, Dwight D. Eisenhower. a celebrated commander in World War II, saw his energies as president largely devoted to the onset of the Cold War. He obtained a truce after years of war in Korea, continued the desegregation of the U.S. armed forces, and set federal troops to enforce a court order desegregating public schools in Little Rock, Arkansas. And yeah, Eisenhower, he's a pretty cool president. I like Ike. Like, you know, that's the thing. If you like Eisenhower, you say, I like Ike. It's very funny, isn't it? So yeah. Sorry guys, my eye is itchy. So yeah, Eisenhower, I like him a lot. Number 5, Thomas Jefferson. I rank Jefferson this high because of his involvement in the founding of our nation and his unique vision as president. Like, you know, he's a founding father. He wrote the Declaration of Independence, and it's pretty cool. So, like, that's a pretty cool thing to do. And he was also the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, writing that all men are created equal, even as he continued to own slaves. During his presidency, he acquired the Louisiana Territory, vastly expanding the size of the country, and slashed the national debt by a third. And so, yeah, and he was the 3rd president too, so that's a coincidence. And you know, it is just Thomas Jefferson, so many people like him. I totally agree. And, you know, everybody loves Jefferson. Number 4, Theodore Roosevelt. Ranked highly for public persuasion and other presidential attributes. He was just 42 when he became the president. And it became the youngest president in the nation's history. And in my opinion, that is my favorite thing about him. And he had the enthusiasm and energy to convince Congress to pass progressive reforms and a strong foreign policy, exemplified by his motto, speak softly and carry a big stick. An avid outdoorman, he oversaw the expansion of America's national parks. Yeah, Theodore Roosevelt, growing up, I learned a lot of things. He had a very cool life. Yeah, I like that he was the youngest president. That's pretty cool. And Theodore Roosevelt, I just love a lot. So, yeah. Number 3, Franklin Roosevelt. I rank FDR for his extraordinary popularity and his devotion to economic justice. Also, he was in a musical I was in, Annie. Check this out.
You heard me up! Now sing! Yes, sing! Like Annie! I've decided that my administration is going to be...
So what do you think? It's cool, huh? So, other than that, FDR assumed the presidency during the worst of the Great Depression, but assured the American people, the only thing we have is to fear itself. He also led the U.S. through the perilous years of World War II. And he is the only president ever elected to 4 terms, but he died before completing the last one. He was 3 months into his 4th term. But FDR, he's a good president, you may know. FDR's great. Number 2, George Washington, the nation's first president, and he is ranked highly for his moral authority and overall performance within the context of his time. Washington fought hard for the Constitution, feeling that the Articles of Confederation were not functioning well for the country. He was disappointed to see the country becoming more politically divided toward the end of his first term, and set a precedent by choosing to retire after his second. But the thing is, in his second inauguration, he talked for a short time for 135 words. And I like George Washington because he's the first president. He's my second best president and my second favorite. All the presidents in this video. Best is also favorite. So, yeah, that's all.
And my number one best president of all time
Is Abraham Lincoln. Among all the U.S. presidents, Lincoln is always in the top for his crisis leadership ability, his dedication to keeping the United States together, and for pursuing equal justice for all. He led the country through one of its most trying periods, the Civil War. He ended the Civil War. And in 1863 signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and he freed the slaves, and he's very popular. And also, I've been very interested about when he got assassinated. It's been like that forever since I liked presidents. And so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and also, I respect your opinion. So please don't disrespect mine. Well, you could respect mine. Well, if you hate any of these presidents, I respect everyone's opinions no matter what. But the thing is, who is your favorite president and why? Tell me in the comments. Well, that's it for this video. See you guys in the next video. Bye. See you in the worst presidents video.